Every hour, you are either creating heaven or repeating yesterday's struggle through the words you speak. This is not poetry. This is not mere philosophy. It is divine law in motion. Your tongue is the brush, your words are the strokes, and the canvas is your life. Most people never notice the words that flow from their mouths. They repeat complaints like background noise. They rehearse fear as if it is a prayer. They speak lack as if it is a prophecy. And then they wonder why life does not move, why circumstances circle back like shadows that never fade. Few stop long enough to realize that words are not echoes, they are seeds. Every statement you make falls into the soil of your subconscious, and the subconscious does not argue, it obeys, it receives, it builds your world with precision. Whether you spoke carelessly or with command. Florence Scovel Shinn revealed that words are more than sounds. They are commands spoken into divine intelligence, instructions, sent into the great unseen architect that governs all things. What you declare is what you authorize, and what you authorize is what appears. So let me ask you, what have your words been authorizing? Fear or faith? Delay or divine timing? Lack or limitless supply? If you want daily divine reminders to awaken your wealth and spiritual power, subscribe now so you never miss your hour of breakthrough, because your awakening does not wait for tomorrow. It begins the moment your words shift. Think of a clock. Every 60 minutes, a hand sweeps around, marking time. Most people see a clock as neutral, a tool that measures hours, but spiritually, every hour is not neutral. Every hour is a doorway, a chance to declare, a chance to reframe, a chance to send out a fresh command into the field of divine intelligence. When the hour strikes, most let it pass with idle chatter, complaints, or silence. But you are not most. You are here because your soul is ready to awaken to the hidden law. Imagine a sunrise breaking over a city, cars move, people rush, the world wakes. Yet while bodies move, most souls remain asleep. They speak as if words are casual. They live as if life is random. But the awakened one knows. The awakened one declares. The awakened one speaks as if heaven is listening, because heaven is your hour is holy. Every hour, not just mornings, not just prayers before bed. Every hour is a fresh altar upon which you place the sacrifice of your words. Will you offer complaints or commands? Hear this truth. Unconscious speech keeps people stuck in cycles. They repeat the same stories of failure. They explain why things never work. They narrate their pain like it is a script that must be performed daily. And so, the law obeys. Their words become their prison, but your words can also become your wings. When you declare life, when you declare wealth, when you declare alignment with divine timing, the universe bends. Invisible doors swing open, paths unfold, and your reality rearranges to match your decree. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn wrote, "Your word is your wand. A wand directs energy. A wand channels unseen forces. When you speak, you are not just filling air, you are casting lines into eternity, and eternity responds right now." Pause, feel your own words, whisper to yourself, "My words align me with divine power every hour." Say it with authority, say it as if your future is listening, because it is. Your words are not only shaping outcomes, they are shaping you. Each declaration you speak reprograms your subconscious. It chisels away fear. It builds new grooves of faith. It anchors new expectations. When you affirm wealth, your inner world adjusts to believe it. When you declare peace, your nervous system recalibrates. When you proclaim health, your body listens. Think of this like a divine orchestra. Every word you speak is a note. If you keep repeating dissonant tones of fear, the music of your life sounds chaotic. But if you choose harmony, if you speak truth, faith, and abundance, the orchestra shifts. The music of your life becomes a symphony that draws opportunities, people, and miracles in rhythm with your command. This is not about forcing. This is the law of non-resistance in action. Instead of fighting circumstances, you rise above them by declaring truth that transcends them. You let your words flow like a river of command, not resisting what is, but authorizing what shall be. So let the first practice be this. When the clock strikes a new hour, speak a declaration. Do not let another hour pass with unconscious chatter. Say it quietly if you must, but say it. Anchor your mind to the divine through the sacred rhythm of speech. Your life is not bound by yesterday's language. Every new hour is a reset, a holy invitation to rescript your destiny. Close your eyes for a moment and see it. A golden clock. Its hands moving with divine precision, each hour glowing like a doorway. each strike of the hand an opening, and from your lips, words flowing like keys unlocking gates you did not know existed. The world may call it coincidence, you will know it as divine law. So remember this affirmation. My words align me with divine power every hour. Write it, speak it, carry it like a flame, because the flame of your words will light the path to the life you were destined to live. Now, let us uncover why hourly declarations bend reality in your favor. Every hour is not just a measurement of time, it is a doorway, a pulse, a silent invitation from the universe itself. The ancients understood that creation moves in rhythm. The ocean does not crash once and remain still. It ebbs and flows. The heart does not beat once and then cease. It repeats, steady and faithful. The sun does not rise only on one morning and then abandon us. It appears again and again and again. This is divine rhythm, the eternal pulse of God woven into hours, seasons, and tides. And when you begin to speak your word every single hour, you are no longer a wandering soul tossing random affirmations into the wind. You become aligned with the sacred drumbeat that has guided creation since the first dawn. Think of your words as notes played on an instrument. If you strike one note once, it fades quickly, it is heard, but then silence swallows it. But if you strike that note again and again, tuning it each time, the instrument begins to vibrate in harmony. It grows stronger, clearer, undeniable. This is why an hourly declaration matters. Each hour is another strike of the sacred string, another beat of the divine drum. It keeps your life tuned to the rhythm of God's order. When your affirmations are sporadic, spoken here, forgotten there, the energy they create is scattered. It is like rain falling only in droplets across dry ground. The soil remains parched, but when rain comes consistently, hour after hour, the land softens, the seeds open, and life bursts forth. Your subconscious mind is this soil. It is carved and reshaped not by one rare word but by consistent streams of the same truth. Hour by hour, you are engraving divine law into the deepest part of your being. Imagine a pendulum swinging. With each hourly declaration, you push it in the same direction. At first the movement is small, barely noticeable, but as you continue, the momentum builds, the swing widens, the energy multiplies. Soon, what began as a whisper becomes a force that no resistance can hold back. This is the power of rhythm. Consider the heartbeat. If it skipped hours, life would collapse. Its power is not in one beat but in the holy pattern of many. So too with your words, when they are spoken in rhythm with divine law, they generate a heartbeat of creation, a steady pulse that rewrites your destiny. Florence Scovel Shinn often spoke of the power of consistent declaration. She knew that words carry the seeds of life, but without rhythm, they scatter like dust. Rhythm is what plants them. Rhythm is what waters them. Rhythm is what makes them bloom. Your hourly word is not wasted breath. It is alignment with the eternal metronome of God. Visualize the ocean's tide as you speak. Each declaration a wave rolling in, washing away fear, carrying fresh provision onto your shore. See the pendulum swing wider as your subconscious accepts this new truth as reality. Hear the divine drumbeat echo with your own words, your voice rising to match the rhythm of creation itself. Say within yourself, I speak in rhythm with divine order. I declare in harmony with the universe's pulse. My words do not drift away. They return with multiplied power. They create, they align, they fulfill. Feel the shift as your voice becomes part of the eternal cycle. Not forcing, not straining, simply joining the divine orchestra already in motion. And understand this, every hour is mercy, every hour is grace. The universe hands you a fresh chance, again and again, to realign, to remember, to re-speak what is true. The question is not whether the rhythm exists. The question is, will you step into it? This is the law of the hour. Consistency creates momentum. Rhythm turns scattered words into unstoppable power. But before transformation begins, we must face the hidden struggle most people ignore, the silent resistance that keeps them from stepping fully into this law. There is a struggle most souls never see. It is not fought in public places or in the open light. It is waged in whispers, in casual phrases, in careless thoughts that slip through the lips unnoticed. It is the battle of unconscious words, the silent sabotage that builds a reality no one ever intended. Think of the way people speak each day without pause. I can't afford it. This always happens to me. Nothing ever works out. These are not simple statements. They are commands written into the fabric of the subconscious. Each word plants a seed, and the soil of the inner world does not discriminate. It does not question whether the seed is good or bad. It simply grows what it receives. Imagine your mind as a sacred garden. Every word you utter is a seed cast into its soil. A careless complaint is a weed that spreads quickly, choking the roots of future harvests. A moment of gossip is a thorn that pierces the tender shoots of opportunity. A habit of self is a shadow that blocks the sun from your own becoming. And because these seeds are planted in repetition, day after day, they grow into forests of limitation. Many live inside these forests without realizing they themselves planted the trees. They wonder why doors never open, why money feels scarce, why peace seems far away. But listen closely. Life is only echoing back the words once spoken into its chambers. The tongue is the brush that paints tomorrow's canvas. And whether you know it or not, you have been painting every hour. There is a story I once heard of a woman who longed for abundance. Every day she dreamed of freedom, of travel, of generosity flowing through her hands. Yet each time she reached for something she desired, she muttered under her breath, "I can't afford it." At first, it seemed harmless, even practical. But over the years, those words carved grooves in her subconscious, like a river cutting stone. And so her life followed the path her speech demanded. No matter how hard she worked, the invisible decree stood firm. She could not afford it. Her words were the gatekeepers, and they denied her entry to the very blessings she prayed for. Now, contrast this with the power of conscious planting. Imagine she had chosen instead to say, "I am open to divine provision. I trust that supply meets me where I stand. I choose to see doors where others see walls." These words would not be empty affirmations, they would be seeds of light, watering her garden with possibility, bending her subconscious toward expansion. Over time, new grooves would be carved, new rhythms established, until her life began to reflect the harmony of her declarations. Here lies the heart of the hidden struggle. People believe words are casual, when in truth they are architectural. Every phrase constructs either a prison or a temple. Every sentence lays down a path toward despair or destiny. The unconscious phrases spoken in the heat of frustration become invisible chains that bind the future. The gossip shared in jest becomes a silent thief of trust and blessing. The self-condemning inner dialogue becomes the hammer that dismantles confidence before it even has a chance to stand. Florence Scovel Shinn called words the instruments of destiny, and she was right. They are not echoes of reality, they are the architects of it. The divine law responds not to what you wish in silence, but to what you declare with your tongue. And because most people do not guard their speech, their lives become gardens of weeds, overgrowing the flowers of desire. But here is the turning point. Once you awaken to the hidden sabotage, you are no longer its victim. You can stand at the gate of your temple and guard its sanctity. You can decide that your words will no longer pollute the altar of your life. You can speak not from fear, but from alignment with divine order. Say with me now, I choose words that water miracles, not weeds. Let it ring in your heart as a vow. Let it become the compass that guides every conversation, every self-reflection, every whisper in the silence of your mind. And when the old habits rise, as they surely will, do not resist them with anger. Simply notice, catch the phrase on your lips and replace it with a higher truth. Transform "I can't" into "I am learning." Transform "I don't deserve" into "I am worthy of divine favor." Transform "nothing ever changes" into "I now live in the rhythm of unfolding good." This is the law of substitution in motion, the divine power to replace darkness with light, despair with faith, lack with supply. Visualize yourself walking into your inner garden. See the weeds of old complaints shrivel and dissolve in the sunlight of awareness. See the soil tilled, ready for new seeds. Now plant them. Speak them aloud. I am divinely guided. My words call forth abundance. My tongue is the brush of creation, and I paint with beauty and order. Feel the garden bloom, not in some far-off future, but here and now within your soul. The hidden struggle has always been this. We become ensnared by words we never meant to worship, but the moment you choose consciously, the struggle begins to dissolve. You reclaim the authority you unknowingly gave away, and your speech becomes not sabotage but sanctuary, because words are not casual, they are sacred architecture. They are the pillars of your destiny, the heartbeat of your reality, the silent contract between you and the infinite. Choose them well, and they will choose for you a life of order, freedom, and divine supply. Now the veil has been lifted. You can see the weeds for what they are. You can see the flowers waiting to bloom. The power is in your tongue. The choice is in your hands. But before we can step into the fullness of this truth, we must ask a deeper question. Why do words carry such undeniable force? Why does the universe bend to the sound of a single declaration? To understand this, we must now step into the sacred truth of why words carry divine power. Every hour is a silent gate, a moment that arrives, stays for a breath, and then passes into eternity. And within that passing hour, you hold a choice, to let it slip away as ordinary time, or to use it as sacred soil for planting a divine seed that reshapes your destiny. Your subconscious is that soil. It does not argue. It does not resist. It only receives. It listens not to the noise of the world, but to the vibration of your inner word. And like the earth itself, it multiplies whatever is planted within it. Plant thorns, and thorns appear. Plant roses, and roses bloom. Plant despair, and despair expands. Plant faith, and faith blossoms into form. This is why every hour matters, because each hour is a fresh piece of ground, a blank field waiting for your intention. What you say at 12 o'clock does not only live in 12 o'clock, it takes root. It grows unseen beneath the surface. And when combined with the seed of 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock, and 3, you begin to see a harvest so great that nothing can wither it. Florence Scovel Shinn taught the power of the tongue, that words are not mere sounds, but living forces. Imagine then the difference between speaking once a day and speaking once every hour. One is like dropping a single seed in a desert. The other is like filling an entire garden with life, row upon row, hour upon hour, until no patch of barrenness remains. Many souls try sporadic effort. They declare abundance on a Sunday morning, but by Monday evening they are back to complaints, doubts, and silent sabotage. They water the soil once, then let it dry in the sun. And when no fruit appears, they call the law a lie. But the law is never broken. It is always exact. The harvest simply reflects the inconsistency of the sower. Hourly declarations build unstoppable momentum. They are like drops of water steadily falling upon a stone. At first, the stone seems unmoved, but drop after drop, hour after hour, the stone begins to change. The surface softens, the shape alters, the impossible yields. So it is with your subconscious. Each hourly seed shapes it, molds it, bends it, toward the vision you carry. Picture a clock face before you, at every hour mark. Instead of numbers, imagine seeds. At 1, a seed of peace. At 2, a seed of prosperity. At 3, a seed of health. By the time you reach 12 again, the face of time itself has become a garden. Flowers bloom where once only numbers lived. The ordinary measurement of minutes has been transfigured into a living testimony of your devotion. Think of your words as drops of living water poured into this garden. A declaration once a day is like watering a plant every week. It survives, but barely. Hourly declarations, however, are like steady streams nourishing roots before they thirst. The plant not only survives, it thrives, it stretches, it blossoms, it bears fruit. This is not discipline for discipline's sake. It is rhythm, like the rhythm of a divine orchestra. Just as a symphony carries its beauty through repeated notes, so does your life carry power through repeated words of truth. Every hour, you strike a chord. Every hour, you place another note in the melody of your destiny. And soon the scattered notes merge into harmony so radiant that the very air around you vibrates with transformation. Now consider the law of substitution. The mind cannot hold two opposing thoughts with equal power at the same time. By choosing to plant hourly seeds, you crowd out the weeds. You give the soil no space to entertain doubt, fear, or complaint. Where weeds once grew wild, rows of blessings now stand. This is how you shift from unconscious sabotage to conscious creation. And so, in practice, it becomes simple. Every hour, pause for a breath. Place your hand on your heart if you choose. Speak aloud or within. Each hour I plant divine seeds of abundance. Let the words not be mechanical, but living. Feel them as golden seeds leaving your lips, sinking into soil, sprouting roots the very moment they are spoken. If you forget 1 hour, do not sink into guilt. The soil does not condemn, it waits. Begin again at the next hour, for the law responds to rhythm, not perfection. What matters is the steady turning of the wheel, the conscious planting, the hourly gift of intention. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your life 6 months from now. If you were to do this, see the field of your days, no longer barren but overflowing, prosperity standing tall like golden wheat, joy blooming like wildflowers in the wind, peace flowing like rivers that never run dry. That harvest belongs to you. It is written into the law, and it begins with the seed of this very hour. Each hour is an altar, each declaration a prayer. Each word, a seed of the future you are daring to create, and the law, exact and unchanging, will not fail to bring forth fruit in its appointed time. So let us plant one together now. Speak this with me. Each hour I plant divine seeds of abundance. Carry it into the next hour, and the next, until the garden of your life is so filled with blossoms that even strangers passing by are nourished by the fragrance of your words. Now, to use this method fully, we must understand the anatomy of a powerful declaration. The words you speak are not random vibrations, they are instruments of power. Coded formulas that either open or close the gates of your destiny. Just as a master alchemist selects each element with precision to create gold, so must you choose your words with reverence to create life. The anatomy of a declaration is not casual speech, it is a sacred formula, a recipe that awakens divine law. The first element is identity. Every declaration begins with I am. These two words are the key to the silent gate of destiny. When you speak I am, you are invoking the eternal self, the soul that never dies, the essence that was before time began. To say I am is to align your mortal voice with the eternal name of God. Whatever follows these words becomes the seed that drops into the fertile soil of the subconscious. This is why careless speech binds people to cycles of lack and limitation. The universe does not argue with your I am, it simply multiplies it. The second element is presence. A declaration must be spoken in the now, not I will be, not someday, not after things improve. The law responds only to immediacy. I am healed now. I walk in abundance now. I am guided now. Time bends to the present word. Future tense leaves the harvest, always out of reach, like a horizon that retreats as you walk toward it. The power lies in claiming your inheritance now. The third element is harmony language. Struggle-filled words carry jagged edges. They slice into the soil of the subconscious and leave wounds instead of roots. But words of flow, grace, and alignment invite the divine orchestra to play in your favor. When you say, I move with ease, the soul breathes. When you affirm, my steps are ordered in grace, the law arranges pathways smoother than stone polished by a river. Harmony language is the oil that turns declarations from friction into flow. The fourth element is comprehensiveness. A declaration must be whole, covering the span of your being, mind, body, spirit, relationships, purpose, and provision. If you affirm abundance for money but carry sickness in your body, the soul feels divided. If you claim love but believe in struggle, the harmony collapses. A powerful declaration embraces the fullness of life because divine law does not separate one area from another. True prosperity is complete. The fifth element is grace. Struggle has no place in the language of power. A declaration anchored in strain blocks its own harvest. Grace is the golden thread that weaves struggle into strength without effort. When you affirm, I receive with ease, you dismantle the belief that life must be hard. Grace turns heavy burdens into light pathways. Grace transforms resistance into flow. Grace allows the harvest to ripen without force. Now imagine these elements as luminous ingredients in the hands of a spiritual alchemist. Identity, presence, harmony, wholeness, and grace, each glowing, each vibrating with divine frequency. When they are combined, the words you speak become more than sound, they become command. They activate divine law with the authority of truth. Let us take this sacred formula and give it voice. Breathe gently, and with reverence, declare, I am in perfect harmony with divine abundance now. Let it echo within you. See it as light entering the soil of your subconscious, glowing seeds planted in every corner of your being. Feel the words not only in your mouth but in your bones, in your heartbeat, in the rhythm of your breath. This is how law is activated, not by volume, not by repetition alone, but by words crafted in the sacred anatomy of power. Pause and notice how your body responds. The mind quiets, the heart steadies, The soul remembers its original song. This is no longer an affirmation to wish for change. It is a declaration that commands change. The subconscious, ever obedient, takes it as instruction. Divine law, ever faithful, sets it in motion. You now understand the sacred architecture of speech. Identity to anchor you, presence to root you in now, harmony to carry you, comprehensiveness to complete you, grace to lighten you. Together, they form the divine recipe that no circumstance can resist. And with this foundation, we are ready to step deeper. For the next revelation is not just about understanding the elements of power. It is about experiencing the declaration itself, the living word that transforms lives. Now, let's experience the sacred declaration that transforms lives. There comes a moment when the words on your lips are no longer casual sound. They become keys, keys that unlock gates of unseen abundance, keys that call forth currents of divine order into your life. This is that moment. The sacred declaration is not just a phrase, it is a living current of power that reshapes the very architecture of your reality. The declaration is this: I am aligned with divine abundance. Every hour, miracles flow to me now in perfect grace and order. Let us enter its depth together. The first words, I am aligned. Anchor your identity into divine truth. Alignment is not effort. It is not strain. Alignment is the tuning of your soul to the frequency that already exists. Just as a violin string vibrates when it matches the pitch of another, your being vibrates in harmony with the source of all wealth when you say, I am aligned. These words remind you that you do not need to create abundance from scratch. You only need to allow yourself to rest in the position where it can reach you. Next comes with divine abundance. This is no ordinary prosperity. It is not confined to money, possessions, or fleeting status. Divine abundance is the overflowing river of good that streams from the infinite into every channel of life. It is health, joy, ideas, relationships, opportunities. When you speak this, you are not begging for scraps. You are declaring union with an infinite fountain that cannot run dry. You are reminding yourself that you were never meant to struggle. For supply has already been assigned to you. Then we move to the living rhythm. Every hour, miracles flow to me now. Why every hour? Because truth is not meant to be locked in morning prayer and forgotten by noon. The law of the Spirit is hourly, moment by moment, pulse by pulse. By affirming every hour, you weave miracle consciousness into the fabric of your daily life. Each hour becomes a doorway, each tick of the clock a reminder that the divine is still pouring into you, still arranging, still unfolding. The word miracles here does not point only to extraordinary spectacles. It points to the invisible shifts, the subtle alignments, the unexpected blessings that gather when you live in spiritual rhythm. Notice the present tense. Flow to me now, not tomorrow, not one day, not after long delay. The law answers to the present. The subconscious responds to the present. Spirit is ever present when you speak now. You claim your seat at the banquet table already prepared. You stop postponing your good. You allow the current to touch you here, in this breath, in this moment. Finally, hear the closing phrase. In perfect grace and order, these words remove the thorn of struggle. They keep you from chasing, forcing, or bending life into unnatural shapes. Grace means ease, beauty, gentleness. Order means timing, sequence, divine arrangement. When you add this seal to your declaration, you are saying, let it come without chaos. Let it come without resistance. Let it arrive by pathways of peace. You are trusting that the infinite knows the choreography better than you do. This declaration is not a line of poetry. It is a spiritual formula. Each phrase is an ingredient in a sacred recipe. Identity, alignment, abundance, miracles, now, grace, order. Together they form a vibration so complete that it leaves no gap for fear, no space for lack. It is the alchemy of speech, a golden mixture that summons divine law into action. I invite you now to do more than hear it. Speak it aloud with your whole being. Whisper it softly as if telling a secret to your soul. Write it on paper, and let your hand etch it into the memory of your body. Feel how the atmosphere shifts when these words leave your lips. Notice how peace steadies your chest, how hope stirs like a rising dawn, how your heart begins to believe what your spirit already knows. Let this be your hourly practice. When the clock moves, let the declaration move with it. When the sun climbs, speak it. When the afternoon feels heavy, whisper it. When the night falls, silent, write it once more. In this way, You do not merely say words, you create a rhythm. You turn your day into a divine orchestra. Each hour, another note in the melody of abundance. And remember this, the law of the tongue is not about volume, it is about vibration. You can shout and still have no power if your heart resists. You can whisper and move mountains if your soul agrees. The strength of this declaration lies in your inner consent. Your willingness to believe that abundance is not a future promise, it is a present reality. So let this be your sacred companion. I am aligned with divine abundance. Every hour, miracles flow to me now in perfect grace and order. Take it in as breath, release it as prayer. Carry it as a torch in every hour of the day. Now let us move into the next step, how to weave this declaration seamlessly into your daily life, until every moment becomes a living testimony of the law fulfilled. Every great transformation begins not in one grand gesture, but in small, faithful steps, repeated with devotion. What we are speaking of now is not just a practice, but a consecration of time itself. Each hour becomes an altar. Each moment becomes a doorway back to God's perfect order. The declaration you received is alive, but it becomes powerful when woven into the fabric of your days. If you speak it once and forget, it lingers like an unsung note. But when you return to it each hour, it gathers force, like a river fed by endless streams, until it overflows and reshapes the landscape of your life. So how do we make every hour holy? Begin simply. Set gentle reminders on your phone, not as commands, but as invitations. When the chime rings, let it be the temple bell calling you back to spirit. Do not rush, do not force. Whisper softly, every hour, I return to divine order. Feel the words sink past your mind and into your soul. In the morning, as sunlight pierces the horizon, let the first declaration rise with it. Before you check the world's noise, let your spirit speak first. Place your hand over your heart and say, I am aligned with divine abundance. Every hour, miracles flow to me now in perfect grace and order. Breathe slowly. Imagine golden light filling your chest, spilling into your bloodstream, moving through every cell. The morning hour sets the compass for your entire day. By afternoon, when the demands of life press heavy and your energy feels scattered, pause again. This is the moment when the law of non-resistance becomes your ally. Instead of pushing harder, instead of letting tension rule, step into surrender. Whisper the affirmation, as though releasing the strain. Every hour, I return to divine order. See yourself stepping back into flow, like a leaf carried effortlessly by a gentle stream. The more you return to this rhythm, the less chaos will have power over you. And in the evening, as the sun falls and the world quiets, speak it once more. Let it be your benediction, a final bow to the day. Write in your journal what shifted, however small. Did a worry dissolve? Did unexpected peace arrive? Did a door open you had not even knocked on? These notes are not just memories, they are evidence of divine order unfolding. In time, your journal will read like a chronicle of miracles, a testimony of your alignment with spirit. Each hour becomes a thread, woven together. They form a fabric of harmony, a sacred rhythm that moves your life from disorder into divine music. Florence Scovel Shinn often taught that words are not empty, they are living seeds. When planted hourly, tended faithfully, they cannot help but bear fruit. See every reminder, every spoken word, every pause as a bell ringing in your soul. The bells do not interrupt life, they sanctify it. They remind you that God is not far, nor delayed. Divine order is not waiting for tomorrow. It breathes here, now, in this very hour. And yes, there will be moments when you forget. Hours that pass without the declaration. Do not condemn yourself. The law of non-resistance whispers release resistance even to your own imperfection. Simply return at the next bell. Grace does not keep score. Grace only welcomes you home. In time, this practice will not feel like effort, but like music, like your own soul humming back to itself. It becomes less about discipline and more about rhythm, less about remembering and more about living. You will not have to force the words. They will rise from within, like a sacred tide that never recedes. So let us seal this moment together. Whisper, now, with your heart lifted. Every hour, I return to divine order. Speak it with reverence, as though the universe bends to listen, because it does. Every utterance is a command to unseen forces. Every repetition tunes you closer to the divine orchestra. And soon, this practice will no longer be something you do. It will be who you are. A being, moving in rhythm with divine timing, guided by the soul's compass, sheltered by the silent gate of destiny. Now let us move deeper. Soon, this practice will feel less like effort and more like sacred rhythm. There comes a moment on every divine journey when what once felt like discipline dissolves into delight. In the beginning, you may set alarms, write reminders, and catch yourself mid-thought, almost forcing the tongue to speak new words of power. At first, it feels like work. You may wonder if you are doing it right. You may even question if anything is happening at all. Yet this stage is holy. It is the soil of planting, the training ground of your soul. But then, without fanfare, without warning, the shift begins. The words that once required effort now rise like breath itself. No longer are you dragging your mind toward truth. Truth begins to carry you. It is the quiet miracle of spiritual law at work. Florence Scovel Shinn called it the natural consequence of divine alignment. Repetition engraves the soul until faith becomes instinct. Think of a child learning to ride a bicycle. At first, there are training wheels, wobbles, and the fear of falling. But with each attempt, balance strengthens. One day, without thinking, the child is riding freely. Wind rushing across their face, laughter spilling from their spirit. That is what happens to you. At first, you lean on reminders, on deliberate effort, on conscious redirection. Then, suddenly, you are gliding in the flow of divine alignment, and it feels like the most natural thing in the world. The inner signs begin to whisper before they roar. You notice peace replacing panic in moments that once triggered fear. You sense a quiet trust guiding you through decisions where before there was only confusion. You begin to see synchronicities, small confirmations that heaven is arranging the details for you. Someone calls at the exact time you were thinking of them. An opportunity arrives the moment you surrender worry. A door opens without your struggle to push. These are not accidents. They are the harmonies of the divine orchestra. Proof that you have entered the rhythm of flow. This is the law of substitution alive in you. What once was worry is substituted with peace. What once was effort is substituted with grace. What once was the struggle of the old self is replaced by the effortless ease of the new. The subconscious, once filled with weeds of doubt, is now fertile ground where only faith can bloom. Psychologists would say repetition rewires the brain. Metaphysicians would say repetition rewires the soul. Both are true, for the mind and spirit are not separate. Each time you chose new words, you inscribed a new identity. Each time you rejected the old dialogue, you broke another chain. Slowly, invisibly, your inner compass shifted, and now, the path of least resistance is no longer despair, it is faith. Can you feel it? That subtle yet undeniable current carrying you. You are no longer trying to believe. You are belief itself. You are no longer reaching for peace. You are peace embodied. It is the law of non-resistance taking form within you. You do not have to fight. You do not have to wrestle. You are carried by a river that knows where to flow. And so, the practice that began as discipline matures into sacred rhythm. Every word of truth is now as natural as breath. Every declaration is less a command, and more, a remembrance of who you already are. You do not force your mind to return to divine order. Divine order is the atmosphere you breathe here. The affirmation becomes your reality. Divine alignment flows through me without effort. Say it softly, say it boldly, say it until the saying becomes unnecessary, for the very air around you repeats it on your behalf. When you reach this stage, even your silence becomes prayer. Your presence itself becomes a declaration. People will feel something different when they are near you. They will not know why, but they will sense the current of peace you carry. The flow that once served only you now begins to serve others. This is the miracle of spiritual transformation. It does not end in the private chambers of your heart. It radiates outward, touching every life you meet, every room you enter, every word you speak. It becomes a silent ministry of alignment, a ripple of heaven moving through the world. And this transformation does not end with you alone. It radiates outward. There comes a moment on this journey when your practice can no longer remain only about you. You begin to realize that the words you speak are not confined within the walls of your own life. They travel, they move, they extend like light breaking through the horizon. What once felt like a private discipline becomes a radiant ministry. And suddenly, you see that every word you release has the power to shift not only your inner world, but the atmosphere around you. Imagine your words as a lighthouse standing tall against the storm. Ships you may never see are guided by its steady beam. Sailors lost in the night are rescued not because they called for you, but because you stood, anchored, shining, unwavering. That is what happens when your speech becomes aligned with divine law. You radiate stability in a world filled with waves of fear. You offer clarity to those still wandering in the fog of confusion. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the tongue holds life and death, and when you choose life, when you choose blessing, you are not just altering your own script, you are rewriting the atmosphere of every room you enter. Notice how a kind word spoken in tension can dissolve conflict, how a gentle phrase of encouragement can lift a weary heart, how a declaration of peace can calm the air in a house heavy with unspoken resentments. This is the spiritual law of overflow. What you cultivate in the silence of your soul pours outward, whether you intend it or not. At first, you may only notice the change in yourself, a calmer breath, a lighter heart, a stronger faith, but soon, you see how those closest to you begin to shift. A child who once mirrored your worry begins to mirror your calm. A partner who once echoed your frustration begins to echo your peace. Even the walls of your home begin to hold a different vibration, and what was once simply your private devotion becomes a gift carried by invisible ripples into the lives of others. The law of non-resistance shows its beauty here. You do not force anyone to change. You do not try to control outcomes. Instead, you allow divine harmony to stream through you like water flowing into a thirsty garden, and in that flow, transformation blossoms naturally. People around you may not even know why they feel safer, stronger, or lighter in your presence, but it is because your words have become a healing current, and your life has become a silent sermon. This is why the practice of elevated speech is never selfish. Yes, it transforms your finances, your health, your opportunities, but beyond all of that, it transforms the collective field you live in. It contributes to the healing of humanity. Each declaration of truth you speak becomes a thread in the fabric of the world's renewal. Each affirmation of light becomes an unseen torch passed into another's darkness. Pause for a moment and see yourself as that lighthouse. You do not shout across the waters. You do not strain to be heard. You simply shine. Your words carry light because they are born of light, and anyone within reach, whether a loved one in your home, a colleague at your workplace, or even a stranger passing you in silence, receives a measure of your radiance. There is a sacred responsibility here, for when you understand the magnitude of your words, you realize you are never speaking only for yourself. Every sentence you form is a seed cast into the garden of humanity. Will you plant seeds of despair or seeds of destiny? Will you echo the world's fear, or will you declare heaven's order? This is the crossroads of power, and the moment you choose to align your speech with love, peace, and truth, you become an instrument in the divine orchestra of collective healing. Let us weave this into a living affirmation. My words radiate light and heal the world. Speak it gently, speak it boldly, speak it with the knowing that you are not asking for this to be true. You are declaring what is already written into the laws of spirit. My words radiate light and heal the world. Say it until it becomes your identity. Say it until silence itself bends to the harmony of your voice. When challenges rise around you, you will see how powerful this practice has become. Where others argue, you will answer with calm. Where others curse the darkness, you will light a candle. Where others are swept into panic, you will hold steady as the lighthouse, shining because shining is who you now are. And as your words rise into alignment, you will notice the synchronicities, doors opening where none seemed to exist, hearts softening where walls once stood, opportunities finding you as if carried on divine wind. These are not accidents. They are the natural overflow of a life tuned to the frequency of heaven's order. Your speech is no longer just about creating wealth or manifesting desires. It is about joining in the grand work of restoration, where every word becomes a healing balm, every sentence a note of harmony in the great chorus of life. And when you begin to live this way, you discover a joy deeper than personal success. You touch the joy of service, the joy of knowing that your very presence is medicine to the world. So stand tall, beloved soul, let your words shine across the waters of this world, let them carry light into unseen corners, let them heal wounds you may never witness. For this is the sacred work you were born for, not only to receive blessings, but to become the overflow of blessings for all. And this transformation does not end with you alone, it radiates outward. Every moment of your life is a page in the book of destiny, and with every word you speak, you are writing lines that echo across eternity. Florence Scovel Shinn declared that the tongue is the rudder of the ship. Wherever you turn it, there your life will sail. Today, you have seen how words are not mere sounds, but living seeds of creation. Now we arrive at the sacred close of this journey, where teaching becomes covenant, and covenant becomes life. Hear this truth. Every hour is holy ground. Every breath is an altar. Every word is a decree that heaven hears and responds to. Your speech is not casual. It is the instrument of divine law, tuning your reality like a great orchestra. If you speak of lack, you conduct a symphony of scarcity. If you speak of love, abundance, and wholeness, you summon the music of miracles. From this moment, you cannot afford to treat your words lightly. They are treasures, commands, and keys to the invisible vault of heaven. The law of substitution tells us that no two thoughts can occupy the mind at once. You cannot hold fear and faith together. You cannot carry despair and blessing in the same breath. So when darkness tempts you, substitute it at once. Let your lips declare, I am aligned with divine abundance. Every hour, miracles flow to me now, in perfect grace and order. In that instant, you move from bondage to freedom, from the valley to the mountaintop. Beloved soul, this is your covenant. Say it aloud with conviction. From this hour forward, I speak only blessing. I command only life. I decree only abundance, not because my will is strong, but because my spirit is surrendered to divine law. Every hour I choose again. Every hour I set the compass of my destiny by the words that pass my lips. And every hour, heaven responds. Think of your day as a golden clock. At each strike of the hour, you are given the chance to realign. The world may distract you. Challenges may arise. Shadows may whisper doubt, but the hour bell rings like a sacred call, and you return to your covenant. You return to your vow. You return to your power. Say it then, clearly, calmly, unshakably. I am aligned with divine abundance. Every hour, miracles flow to me now, in perfect grace and order. Let us make this practical. Set a reminder on your phone, not as a burden, but as a sacred chime. When it rings, stop, breathe, speak your covenant. Visualize golden light pouring through your words, spilling across your body, your home, your work, your relationships. See that light extending outward like a sunrise, touching every horizon. Your children feel it. Your family feels it. The atmosphere in your home shifts. Even strangers who cross your path sense the peace that surrounds you. This is no small ritual. It is the hourly renewal of your partnership with Spirit. The law of non-resistance assures us that what we bless blesses us back. When you resist, you bind yourself. When you bless, you release heaven's river. That is why your covenant is not only for yourself but for the world. As you speak blessing, you become a lighthouse in the storm. You heal the unseen wounds of others simply by carrying the vibration of divine speech. Here is your sacred challenge. For 7 days, walk this covenant, from morning until night. At the turn of every hour, affirm it with your whole being. Say it while standing, say it while working, say it while resting. Say it until it becomes the natural song of your soul. Watch how the universe rearranges itself to honor your decree. Opportunities appear, burdens lift, peace flows, love finds you, and abundance, in forms you never imagined, begins to enter by divine right. Now, I ask you to anchor this covenant publicly. Comment below these words. I choose my words as divine commands. Let the act of writing it be your first outward step into this sacred agreement. And tell me, which part of this journey touched your soul most deeply? Your words will inspire others. Your declaration will ripple like light across this community. As we close, I bless you now. I bless you with peace that cannot be shaken. I bless you with abundance that cannot be denied. I bless you with grace that carries you through every valley into every promised land. From this hour forward, may your tongue be the pen of destiny, writing miracles into your life. From this hour forward, may your lips be fountains of healing, joy, and prosperity. From this hour forward, may you know, in the deepest marrow of your being, that words create worlds, and your world is made new. Repeat it one last time, aloud and unshakable. I am aligned with divine abundance. Every hour, miracles flow to me now in perfect grace and order, and now, the covenant is sealed.